The UFC Noche pre-fight press conference just ended, and you had all 20 fighters on stage. Sean O'Malley, Merab Dvalishvili, you had Grasso, you had Shevchenko, you had Lopez, you had Ortega. Everybody from the card was there at the UFC Noche presser. And I know the majority of people are going to call this a boring press conference, and I've already seen people criticizing Sean O'Malley. We're going to talk about that in this video. But I actually kind of enjoyed this press conference. And I think there was a few key notable moments from this press conference. I didn't love it, but again, I go in with zero expectations. I used to not even watch press conferences. And so like anything basically exceeds my expectations. I'd give this like a 3 out of 10. I go in like thinking a 0. There was Ronaldo Rodriguez and Ode Osbourne going back, which was probably the craziest moment of the entire press conference. Supposedly, there might have been some slurs thrown out there. We'll talk about that and watch a clip from that. You have kind of O'Malley and Merab having a funny moment, you know, back and forth. Kind of they each had their own little moment. You had Ortega sounding brain dead, dead behind the eyes, while wearing sunglasses, looking like Cyclops when he's partially, you know, indoors, kind of covered up. Not really indoors, but, and it's also nighttime. And then you also have, which I think is the most pivotal moment of the entire press conference, you have Dana White being pressed by every fighter on stage and the crowd to raise bonuses, and he refuses to raise bonuses. He says, nope. Next question. We're going to take a look at that clip in this video as well. We're going to take a look at a clip of Rodriguez and Ode Osbourne, Brian Ortega, Sean O'Malley, Merab, and the Dana White clip. We'll look at all that, but let's start off with some of the kind of small subtleties of the UFC Noche press conference. For those of you who didn't watch, by the way, let me know, guys. I do these videos because people ask me to do them. They're very easy videos for me to do. Let me know. Do you guys like these press conference recaps? Do you want me to keep doing them? Let me know down in the comments. But let's start off with this. I want to applaud the UFC. People say, Joe, you're too negative. I want to applaud them for trying something new. I love the backdrop. They did it out in like the parking lot of the Sphere. You know, they had this grand stage with every fighter on the card on the stage. And they had the Sphere in the background. They had drone shots. I thought it looked incredible. The backdrop, Vegas behind them. I thought like this looked like a mega press conference. Now, it probably didn't get all that great of views. I don't think it increased that much hype or anything. But I have to applaud the UFC for trying something new. And it's just, you know, for me personally, it's just kind of getting away from the standardized, like, you know, just kind of mailing it in every time. It's like it's the same shit over and over and over again. I love something like this. Just change it up a little bit. For those of you who've been around since the Reebok era, they used to have shorts. When they first started the Reebok era, they had shorts. So you'd have two fighters, right? Fighter A's shorts would be 75% black, 25% white. Fighter B's shorts would be 75% white and 25% black. Don't believe me? Look it up. Look up fights from 2016, the Reebok era, like Lawler. Well, Lawler had, I was going to say Lawler McDonald, but I think he had black shorts because he's the champion. But like, I think it was from 189 to 194 when Conor had the first colored shorts, the green shorts, I believe. So I'm open to change. I love that they're messing around with the fight kits. I love that they're having this new backdrop at UFC Noche. With that being said, this press conference, from the time the press conference started to the time the mic time ended, it was 26 minutes. What kind of substance are you going to get in 26 minutes with 20 fighters up on stage plus Dana White? So 21 people, you have 26 minutes for them to talk, but really half of that time is for the media to get out their questions, which the questions aren't all that great. These questions weren't that great, but it's a tough job to do, whatever. So you have basically 13 minutes for 20 fighters plus Dana White to answer questions. And you got something that was like, you know, it was okay. Again, I've already mentioned the 3 most notable moments. We're going to get to those. We're going to look at clips for each one of those in a second. But other than that, you basically have token questions asked of everyone, you know, whether it's Yasmin Howergy, who looked like a schoolgirl, looked like she was 13 years old. You had Norma Dumont that got 2 questions to my memory. I think the only person that didn't get a question was Joshua Van. So the media really effed up there. If you're going to ask everyone a question, at least ask Joshua Van a question as well. But like for the really the majority of the card, there was nothing of substance. You know, even for Brian Ortega, Diego Lopes, there was nothing of substance. For Daniel Zellhuber or Esteban Ribovics or Rivovics, nothing of real substance. Oh yeah, we're gonna fight and we're gonna, You know, show what our Mexican heritage is about. Something along those lines. I'm just kind of paraphrasing. I don't remember who said what because there's so many outside of the, you know, kind of notable stuff. But you just have these token questions. And to be honest, as hyped up as UFC Noche is by Dana and the UFC, and they're trying to make it this mega event, the crowd was dead as hell. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. The crowd seemed very, very dead. It didn't seem like really there was anything that was going to get this crowd up in arms. They were a little bit live when Ronaldo and Ode Osbourne were going back and forth. They were live when they were helping the fighters press Dana for the bonuses that he, you know, refused to give out because he's too cheap, because they spent $20 million on the Sphere, even with, you know, Saudi Arabia's help. But other than that, they cheered a little bit for Sean O'Malley. They booed a little bit for Merab. Sean O'Malley was definitely the fan favorite for this press conference. But it just really felt kind of dead, to be quite honest. And I know people are going to lay that at the feet of Sean O'Malley. I'll defend him a little bit in this video later. But I don't think it's anyone in particular's fault. It's just like these press conferences, unless you have a really strong personality or a real strong backstory, you're not going to get these, you know, avid, energetic crowds unless you have like these crazy personalities. Like Conor seems like to be the only one that can really kind of drum up that type of energy for a press conference, and he doesn't show up because of a broken toe. He may never show up again. Chandler's still waiting around, left his family in January. But other than that, in terms of the kind of subtle things, the, you know, kind of very minute details, I didn't notice anybody looking super sickly. You know, sometimes I'll point that out. Merab seemed a little bit nervous. I'm not saying he's necessarily nervous about the fight, but he seemed kind of like nervous to be there, kind of rambled on in the beginning. And, you know, I think O'Malley was asked, you know, does a knockout here make you a star? And then he says yes, and something along. He kind of rambled on a little bit, and then Merab was like, "When I beat him, I'm already popular, but I'm trying to build. But I'm good with what I'm at." And he's rambling and rambling and rambling, and then Sean O'Malley's like, "Next question," interrupts him. Next question, which was moderately funny. I mean, I didn't think it was hysterical, but yeah, it was just kind of like, eh. One thing I will say, and I know I, highlighted, I'm happy the UFC's trying something new. The lighting was dead. I mean, I don't know who did the lighting here. It was just extremely dark. You'll see when we look at the clips here in a second, but the lighting was absolutely dead for this press conference. And, it's just, outside of that, in terms of production quality, okay, it is what it is. One thing I will say before we get into some of these clips, Dana White started off the press conference by saying, yeah, I know all the fans get there early anyway, but make sure you get there by 7. You're not going to want to miss this. Well, newsflash, Dana, your tickets were $3,000. You dropped them down to $800. The majority of the people that bought tickets to the Sphere are rich elites. They don't show up until the main card. They didn't show up to the main card for $300, which is crazy. It was the most stacked card ever. You have priced out hardcore fans because your tickets are so damn expensive. And then you're begging people at the press conference, make sure you show up at 7. Make sure you show up at 7. No, they don't care. They got millions of dollars. They bought the $3,000 tickets. So, maybe I'll go. Maybe I won't. So don't be surprised if half the Sphere's empty when the card starts. I hope they give us a view of the seats. I would love to see a view of the seats because I'm telling you, everyone's not going to be there by 7, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's jump into some clips. We're going to start off with Brian Ortega. Now, this isn't that crazy of a clip, but first off, he's dressed like Cyclops, with sunglasses on at night under a roof. I don't know what's going on there. At least he didn't look sickly this time like he did at the 303 presser. But, I couldn't even make any sense of this. I don't know, what's going on. He just seems dead behind the eyes a bit. What does this even mean? He's asked, are you and Diego Lopes going to give the fans a war? And this is what he starts talking about. Listen to this.
If I was to tell you they don't back out on the striking and they don't back out on the grappling, you don't know who I'm talking about. It's him and me. Our styles is meant for war. You guys won't get a war tonight or Saturday night.
Man, that really got me hyped. You back out on the grappling, back out on the striking, you wouldn't know who it was going to... What? I have no idea what he said there. So I wanted to highlight that moment. There was really nothing of note between Brian Ortega and Diego Lopes. But it seems like Brian Ortega is always saying some weird shit. So I figured I'd highlight that. Then we get to Ronaldo Rodriguez Ode Osbourne. Now, I'm only going to show you a little bit of this because, half of it's half-ass translated. But they basically just had this crazy back and forth where they're screaming at each other the entire time. There were some people saying, Ronaldo Rodriguez used slurs in Spanish, which there were some slurs, but I think some people are kind of over-exaggerating the kind of extremeness of those slurs. So it's up for interpretation. Sometimes slang, you know, especially in Spanish, can have like multiple meanings in English. So basically I see some people saying homophobic slurs. You know, to my knowledge, what he was saying was kind of equivalent to like pussy. But it can be taken as bitch and other words as well. So we'll let you guys decide. You guys can let me know. But Ode Osbourne was basically saying he was going to beat him. And then Ronaldo Rodriguez was looking for all the smoke. He's just screaming into the mic, going crazy. And they had a bit of a back and forth here.
Hey, save that Shaq. The last one you're going to get.
Después de esta pinche pelea te vas de aquí a la verga.
This was the highlight of the presser right here. He's just going off. But I don't know if you heard the translator. Apparently, Ronaldo Rodriguez said, yeah, save that check because it's the last one you're going to get. Basically telling you're going to get cut from the organization. And we'll listen to it a little bit more.
After this fight, they're going to take you out of here.
I'm about to make him look like lazy boy. I'm about to make him look lazy. You're going to look lazy up in there with me.
So there you go. They're going back and forth. It ends with Ode Osbourne saying, yeah, I'm going to treat him like a piñata on Saturday night, which kind of fell flat. But that was a crazy back and forth. You know, if you want to go check out the full thing, it was like 2 minutes long. Dana finally goes, all right, next question now. Next question. Next thing I want to take a look at. We're going to take a look at 2 clips between Merab and Sean O'Malley. First thing is them talking about the jacket. Because Sean O'Malley came out with the jacket. This is the famous jacket that Merab, people say stole, but O'Malley took it off and handed it to him as he was in the cage staring down with Aljamain Sterling. He's asked about that, and this is kind of the back and forth about the jacket.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is kind of where the whole rivalry started, so I was bringing it back. Made sense.
Thank you. Dana asked me to give you a jacket back. Otherwise, I will keep it the jacket. But looking good on you today. You can have your jacket. I'm gonna take your belt on Saturday.
So you can hear the crowd booing Merab, but I thought it was a good line from Merab. You can have your jacket. You can keep your jacket. I'm gonna take your belt on Saturday. You know, and you know, I thought that was a decent line from Merab. He seemed kind of nervous. Everyone's wearing sunglasses. Apparently, somehow I only picked on Brian Ortega for it, but now I'm realizing Merab's got sunglasses on. O'Malley's got sunglasses on. Everyone's wearing sunglasses at night for some reason. I don't know. Next clip we're going to take a look at was actually probably the best clip from the whole press conference in terms of O'Malley Merab. Is O'Malley's asked about boxing. And, you know, he goes on kind of say, like, if I knock a couple more people out, we'll see what happens. He was asked specifically about Tank Davis. He didn't really give a crazy, you know, kind of discussion about that, probably because Dana told him to shut his mouth about it, because it's kind of awkward when UFC fighters' biggest dreams are to go to boxing to get a payday. But then you have this exchange between, you know, Merab and O'Malley, because O'Malley's saying he knocks guys out, and Merab kind of jumps in and says, well, I've never been knocked out before.
I did knock out Aljo, though, didn't I?
No, that was early stoppage, bro. I'm gonna help you. Come on.
Yeah.
So I actually started a little bit later than I realized. But essentially what you have is Merab saying, I've never been knocked out. You won't knock me out. You didn't knock Marlon Chita Vera out. And then this was Sean O'Malley's reaction to that.
I did knock out Aljo, though, didn't I?
No, that was early stoppage, bro. I'm gonna help you. Come on. That was early. You lucky.
I was lucky as fuck. I keep getting lucky. It's crazy. Every fight I get lucky. Somehow, some way, I get lucky.
Okay, try with me. Same thing.
So there you go. O'Malley says, I knocked Aljo out, though, which is a good response when Merab's saying, oh, you won't knock me out. You don't knock anyone out. You didn't knock Marlon Vera out. Good response from O'Malley saying, oh, well, I knocked out Aljo. And then Merab comes back and says, oh, that was early. That was early. It was like 2 little kids arguing back and forth. But that was kind of the best line from Sean O'Malley. That's why I wanted to highlight it. Now, we're going to get into the Dana White clip and the bonus clip here in a second, which actually I think is the most, you know, important or notable thing that happened at this press conference, because they really pressed him. But I want to take this moment for a second to defend Sean O'Malley, because I see people complaining already. There was people in my chat. I watched this live on stream. There was people complaining about Sean O'Malley. There was people on Twitter and social media complaining about O'Malley. Yeah, O'Malley's never going to be a star. He's boring. He doesn't talk on the mic. He's not good on the mic. I thought he did what he needed to do here. He's not there to really, you know, have all these crazy lines, okay? There's 21 people on stage. There's a limited amount of time. This isn't some like heated rivalry. It's a banger fight. The fight sells itself. But even if, let's say it was a more intimate scenario where you have 4 people and O'Malley can really go back and forth, has lots of time on the mic, there's a 20-minute press conference, only 4 people, what do you want him to do? I'm happy that O'Malley seems like he's being himself more. You know, before sometimes it seemed kind of forced and awkward. It comes off to me like he's made a conscious decision to just be himself. And you guys tell me, I genuinely want to know this. I want you to answer this down in the comments. What would you prefer from O'Malley? Him show up at the press conference and, you know, say, you know, start talking about people's dead parents and put on a fake WWE character and have scripted lines that he had some, you know, bum on the side of the road script for him, and then go out and shit the bed in a fight? Or would you rather have Sean O'Malley, you know, show up and say, yeah, here's the thing, guys, we're going to go to war. We're going to go to war. We're going to bleed for you guys. And then go out there and not fight and jab and teep? Or would you rather have O'Malley show up, not act like a fake manufactured character, and then go out there and get viral KOs and have a crazy, exciting, aesthetically pleasing, elite level striking skill set? I think I'll take that. I'll take a quote unquote mid personality, which I think he's still coming into his own and trying to feel comfortable out there on the mic. And he's not this, you know, Conor McGregor trash talker. Look at his fight style. And I promise you this, and I've been a guy who said, you know, O'Malley's not a star. He's not a star. I've been saying that for literal years, and people have been saying to me, O'Malley's a superstar, this and that. He's on the cusp. I can tell he's on the cusp. A viral KO against Merab on Saturday night could propel him. It could be one more fight after that. Maybe he goes out there and KOs Umar. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm just saying he's on the cusp. He doesn't need to be some fake WWE character to be able to become a star. I mean, look at Colby Covington. He's selling under 400,000 pay-per-view buys. He's had some fake WWE character for years. So to sit here and be like, yeah, O'Malley's so bland. He's just himself. He destroyed Sean Strickland at the seasonal press conference earlier this year. If you haven't seen that clip, go check my Twitter. It'll be on my Twitter. But he doesn't need to be somebody that he's not, okay? His style speaks for itself in the cage. And people have called me a Sean O'Malley hater for years. His style speaks for itself. He doesn't need to go out there and act WWE-esque to be able to get any attention, because guess what? When he goes out there and fights, it's exciting. And this is a banger matchup between him and Merab. A stylistic clash that I'm super excited to see. And to be honest, as we get closer, and I know, you know, people are going to say, oh, Joe, you've been crapping on Noche. I've been crapping on ticket prices, okay? If you actually listen to what I'm saying, I'm crapping on ticket prices. And Dana White lying about the event. But this fight between O'Malley and Merab has big fight feels. Because for O'Malley, he could propel himself to superstardom. For Merab, if he beats O'Malley, it's going to be very interesting in that bantamweight division. Depending on how the outcome, does O'Malley get a rematch? How big would a rematch be? If it was a close fight, it'd be insane. But beating O'Malley, especially when it seems like Merab's a massive underdog now, it seems like that. I'm kind of, you know, I don't know what the actual odds are, but it just seems like everyone's picking O'Malley. It's a foregone conclusion O'Malley's going to win. If O'Malley goes out there and gets a win, it's huge. If Merab goes out there and gets a win, it's huge. He doesn't need to talk at a press conference. He doesn't need to talk about someone's dead parents, because guess what? People are going to care. Now, there's going to be, you know, some 16, 17-year-olds that are going to stream the fight. They're wearing their marijuana leafs, you know, tube socks, saying, we just tight, I like weed. And they're not going to buy the pay-per-view. They're going to stream it. But again, the point I'm trying to make here is stop crying. We don't need him to manufacture a character. He can build his brand in the cage with his fight style, and that's what he's done thus far, and he's an exciting fighter. Now, the last thing we're going to look at is Dana White getting pressured for bonuses. I believe it was Edgar Chairez who actually started this. So we're going to jump back here, right about here, and yeah, it is Chairez, or Chairez, I think is how you pronounce it. He asked Dana, are we gonna pay the Mexican fighters? We're going to get extra bonuses for UFC Noche? And I was curious how Dana was going to react, because if you go back to UFC 304, Dana was like, I'm never upping bonuses again. You know, everyone sucked and blah, blah, blah. And he was all angry about it. And watch his reaction. He gets pressed by the fighters. He gets pressed by the crowd. And look at his reaction here.
Listen, I think if we already have an event to celebrate the hardest work.
By the way, I feel bad for Joshua Van. I don't think he got asked one question. Not one single question. But this is the translator translating what Chairez said.
Working people in the world, maybe a different kind of paycheck or some sort of additional bonus to reward us for such hard work. What do you say, people?
Pero solo a los
I mean, watch when it first pans to him.
Pero solo a los
He is not a happy camper. My love letter to Mexico already cost me $20 million. I thought Dana right here, I thought Dana was going to be like, Here's the thing about John Jones. John Jones is on another level. John Jones has a dark side to him. 2 German Shepherds. He shoots guns. He swats spray paint cans out of teenagers' hands who were attempting to graffiti businesses during civil unrest. I thought that's what he was about to break into. But his reaction was even better here. Watch this.
Who has the next question?
Pay the Mexicans.
Look at him bow his head down. Dana's done. He's like, I already spent $20 million. This is my love letter to Mexico. I ain't paying these Mexicans any more money. You guys keep asking for more money. I'm going to head to Home Depot. Let me stop. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy to see. Dana, you normally would have took this moment. He could have at least upped him to $75K, and he would have got, some goodwill. It would have got a lot of articles out. It would have promoted the fight card even more. It probably would have helped, get some media attention to the card, much needed media attention. But instead, that's his reaction.
Who has the next question?
Pay the Mexicans.
Question for Manuel.
So there you go. That's Dana White's reaction. I'm not giving out any more money. I spent $20 million, even though I'm being sponsored by Riyadh Season. I'm making a $21 or $22 million gate. Typical event cost me $2 million. I've already covered this in other videos, but I think that was the most notable thing at the press conference. Dana White being cheap and refusing to up bonuses, even though 50K bonuses have been in effect for 20 years, I think, something along those lines. I did the math before and told you guys the exact year. Adjusted for inflation, I mean, the bonuses are like 10,000 now compared to what they were back in 2010, 2008. So yeah, that was the UFC Noche press conference in a nutshell. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you so much for watching.